Welcome to my podcast, which is all about changing your business and money reality. This is your master money coach, Dr. Gaurav Deka, and you are money. Hello, my friends. How have you all been? So, welcome to today's episode, and we have a very special episode today with a special guest. And the name of this episode is Making Your First Lakh, right? Making your first 1 lakh. And someone inside ATEPS has just made her first lakh. And I want to share this experience with all of you, especially coaches, healers, therapists, who have all of these questions like, can I have this like a full-time business? Is this like a practice that I can do and let go of my, let's say, day job? Can it bring me really good revenue? Can I actually make a lakh? Like all of these questions I get from people. People are at 25,000, people are at 40,000, people are at 60,000, and they have these questions for me. And I know I had those questions for myself long back. And I'm going to tell you even about my experience of how I felt when I made my first lakh. But for now, I want to introduce you to our guest. Her name is Anshul Jhambani, and she's inside ATEPS right from the very beginning. And she happens to be a hypnotherapist, a freedom coach, and an actor. So welcome to you, Anshul. Big warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. This is so
Great.
cool. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And Anshul, I know that you have recently made your first lakh. I don't know how much that is in dollars. It's like more than $1,000, right? It's like $1,200, I guess, isn't it? USD. And but before we even go there, we want to know about you. The audience who is listening right now would want to know about you. What's the kind of work you do? What's the kind of coaching you do? And how did you land up in this work and then in ATEPS? Please tell us.
Okay. Um, I would start like with the second question first that how did I land up here? Yeah. And so my life has been a beautiful experience of rejections.
Hmm.
And whatever has rejected me to take that no in a good way has
Hmm.
helped me end up here. And I come from a small town, Udaipur, Rajasthan, and
Right.
there
Beautiful.
the yeah, it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
So come from a very conservative understanding of life itself. Like there is a trail, yeah, and that trail is dominated majorly socially with the rules of the society. And so, in terms of career, also was like there are limited options like the CA, doctor, MBA. So, tried my luck with CA, could not clear. Now, in hindsight, with therapy, know that why I was stuck in the finals. And then I made a shift when I was 27,
Hmm.
and a lot of people talk about shifts, like oh, I did this, I did not like this, I did not find my calling, and so I shifted. But here I was, I did something, I wanted to do it because that was the only option coming from
Right.
the limited idea of life, and the conventional understanding of you've invested so many years now completed, no, that thing of
Yeah, yeah,
everything
it was the same thing for
completed.
me. My God, 4 years have gone, 2 years left, complete your like MBBS. I know.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So then, but sadly, I was not able to do it. So I was
Hmm.
coming from rejection,
Hmm.
like that career stream rejected me,
Me.
and so I have to start, and that way. So I've been lucky in terms of teachers, and in terms of my therapists, in terms of my own coaches,
Right.
and I don't know, something bigger also that guided me from one thing to the other. So I started with the with a diploma, a
Hmm.
safe thing to start with.
Yeah, yeah. Like we
Right.
feel because we come from all these conventional spaces. So once again, so many people ask us, you as well as me, that do we need this and this certification? Do we need to do this and this course to start off, or where do we start? And often that is not true, but people feel some kind of empowerment when they have a certification or a diploma or something of that sort, including both of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. And I think that also now, in hindsight, yes, after like 6 more years, I can see that, okay, that was also one of the ideas that is sold, that
Hmm.
to start off, you should have something in your hands to show as like, okay, this is what I've learned. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and human beings particularly, like, so everybody working with people, we have to, like, eventually we come around to the understanding that we are so much bigger.
That is true.
There's
I mean, I just want to
nothing that can be
digress.
learned.
I just want
Yeah.
to digress for a moment and like reveal it to you that yesterday someone reached out, and I know this person for quite a long time, and we've been like in touch. We are good friends. So this person reaches out and says that, Gaurav, I really want to start a circle for women in order to discuss abuse, right, from a very therapeutic perspective, and help them witness those experiences in a way where they can have self compassion, right? But then I haven't studied that, right? And and I looked at the message for a moment, and I know, because we have been so close, I know that they went through something of that nature in their childhood, even in their adolescence. And then I said that, listen, I talk about queer politics all the time. I talk about how my queerness has shaped my business and the way I work. I don't have a degree in LGBT literature. I don't have a degree in gender studies or queer studies, which means we are so much bigger than, you know, the degrees or the certifications that we have. It's actually our experiences which make us better therapists, coaches, healers, or mentors for people, and not the studied material or the institutional thinking, right? Yeah, back to you.
I think it's so it is evolving, and the more we honor this life that is in us, and the experiences that have happened, and the transcendence that has happened, I think it just becomes clearer and clearer.
Hmm.
So so coming now to how I became this was I again the small town understanding of, okay, to do something with the thoughts than psychology. Yeah,
Hmm.
that in itself is
Right, that whole monster on your head, psychology, psychology. But I don't have a degree in psychology. This is like a ubiquitous sentence in everyone who reaches out to me.
yeah. and and now I go and I in the department of psychology in press I go for a diploma, and that is a diploma in life skills. Yeah, and that is about personal safety, and that is about sexuality, and to start with, and then I feel horribly limited
Hmm. Wow.
because of my own dependence on these labels,
Hmm. Hmm.
and to say that, okay, I know this, and so if a person comes as a whole, and I know
Exactly.
this, so I can tell you about this, but I can't tell you a lot of things. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't be with you when you
Yeah.
bring a question that's outside this ambit of this limitation.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why, I mean, with all due respect, academia does not help in practice.
Yeah, yeah. And so the mystical nature of life, in one of the guest lecture seminars in this course only, there is this mentor of mine who comes in, talks about consciousness,
Hmm.
and at that time, uh, because I was like coming from so much of life happening to me, I
Yeah.
did not even have that in me to reach out and to say, hey, I find that really interesting.
Interesting.
Because I was like, okay, I can feel that joy in my body, but I can't go up to them and tell them I find this interesting, because now I've started questioning myself only, that wherever I'm going, I feel that no, this is not it.
Hmm.
So what
Hmm.
if I go there also and I feel this is not it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Which
I got to
rejection does
find,
to us, because it leads to this whole birth of self-doubt to such an extent that it's difficult to actually trust our own desire and likings.
yeah, exactly. And then the generic understanding of whatever you desire, whatever you like, and the understanding of work, and it's so binary, no? It's
Hmm.
either that dead 9 to 5, that oh, work nobody enjoys, or it's like you have to have that crazy passion where the passion is the drive, and in between is not accepted.
Yeah, yeah, you
And
have to be like heavily caffeinated, waking up at 5 in the morning, journaling and meditating, and then going for your run, and then coming back and just walking like a horse, which again is a very, very masculine, cis masculine idea of how you're supposed to produce and the results that you need to bring, and no pain, no gain kind of, bullshit and all of that. Yeah.
yeah. So then I went back to my hometown, went back to CA because I was like, okay, go back to the
Hmm.
safer choice, like
Yeah.
and finding safety in the conventional, what
Convention.
is told,
Yeah.
yeah, and then nothing was happening. But then came around on Instagram this post about the same mentor who came in
Hmm.
one of
Hmm.
those
Consciousness.
classes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
consciousness, and I was like, okay, like should message.
DM is like way safer than like real time meeting.
Yeah. And that you mentioned Kamakya in your recent podcast. One of
Yeah.
my very dear friends was
Hmm.
visiting Kamakya Devi at that time and
Yeah. In
had
Assam.
prayed for me. And
Wow.
yeah, in Guwahati, and had prayed for me, and so I don't know what led to that belief in self to DM that hey, I want to register and I
Hmm.
want to
Hmm.
become who you are. I want to do
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but I think it was that prayer.
Wow.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
to to stand up and say after these multiple rounds of failure to say that, and I had to ask my father for the fees of that because for
Hmm.
everybody who like the certifications are expensive, but at the same time I feel that they're worth it.
Yeah.
They're absolutely worth it
Worth it.
because
Yeah.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
is because you
and
connected to the mentor, you connected to their words, expression, the energy that they brought. I just want to like make it clear to the audience also that, you people like you and I, we don't go because a certain institution is offering a certain kind of certification. We go because we connect to the person as a whole,
yeah,
and the things that they bring onto the table, it resonates with us. And because we can see that those people are bringing their truth to the surface, we begin to vibrate with our own truth, you know
yeah,
so
yes.
which is what happened to you.
Yeah, exactly. And so I come back and I enroll for that course, and that course is like it just opened up. It was about it's a clinical curriculum around hypnotherapy,
Hmm.
and so everything is introduced in a very systemic manner.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
so that and anyway, I felt like I was that slightly a person who's more driven into the energetic aspects of the
Yes.
world,
Yes.
but had completely rejected that side of me.
Don't worry, we all have loved woo woo from the very beginning. We have been talking to spirits, but then, we have like cut out that portion, which is what made my life hell in medicine, because I would go to hospitals, and then, I would be able to feel all the spirits around me. And then I would want to, like, I mean, I wouldn't even acknowledge that part of me, which I acknowledged way later when I started doing, regression work and spirit oriented work. And then I understood that, okay, fine, this is who I am. And we feel so bad about ourselves about being quote unquote woo woo, but that is what is wholeness, right? Like, we
Yeah,
are spirit beings, in a physical body. We cannot deny that.
yeah, exactly. And so this all of this and getting into this and understanding it like that, where
Hmm.
somebody has made a course out of it, that
Hmm.
liberated that part of me. I was like,
Hmm.
if that part of me can be seen and validated like that,
Hmm. Hmm.
then I can do that for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I just found so much reassurance in that work, in the
Hmm.
energy work, that I started. Now the pendulum swing happened
Yeah.
from a nerd who's like finding validation and identity in academia.
Hmm.
Yeah. There is this other person who's become like a low-key tantric, and all
Hmm.
cases of like the dark force entities and all of that coming down. And I'm like, what am I become?
All forms of like spirit infested, beings like showing up in
Yeah,
your reality.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I found that settlement there in the energy being. But then when you come back to the world and when you
Yeah.
talk about what I do, and there is a risk of rejection because masses are still in that space where I was,
Oh,
where
heavily,
what
heavily,
I see is what I believe, and what they tell me, and the dominance and the hierarchy. That's how it works, no?
heavily. Yeah.
Yeah,
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 yeah, which is also stops us, even though we know that we can impact, affect, and help the lives of people, we ourselves might be so ashamed of admitting how we do it,
yeah,
because how we
exactly.
do it is supposed to be um clinical, is supposed to be through some physical object, like a tablet, or let's do journaling. It can't be like, oh, close your eyes and invite that entity and let's talk to it. Something like,
Yeah,
I mean, we are so scared to talk about it in that way, because that how is a shameful how, versus the
yeah,
how of offering someone a prescription. And
yeah,
as a
yeah,
result of which, we don't realize the internal colonization that we experience, how these methods are seen as lower, lesser, and less honorable, because they are quote unquote can be branded as quackery.
yeah,
And yeah, so that's what happens to so many of us. And I really want all people who are listening right now to know that that is what makes your practice unique and whole, by the way, right? Because here is a living example who is sitting in front of you and talking about her, how she has made that a profession and has seen countless people and worked with them.
yeah. And the sad thing is, despite the evidence, there was
Yeah.
so much evidence. All my clients, like such good shifts,
Results. Yeah.
breakthroughs happening, and my own shame, keeping it in this limited space.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so then a lot of the next course happened. And again, a lot of gratitude to that. It was the queer affirmative counseling practice. And and then the kink affirmative course. And with all of these things, there was this understanding of, okay, how there is a system who goes by the rules, and then everybody else is like sidelined.
Hmm.
And it has nothing to do with one's value, and it has nothing to do with result, and it has nothing to do with joy, and it has nothing
Yeah.
to do with work. So I think that was one other liberating space. But at the same time, till that time, I was seeking validation from the, because that is what I was
Yeah.
born in, the system of, oh, the academics, to
Yeah.
get these certifications, get these big degrees, and
Yeah.
people see value in that label and that paper.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
still my father's like, when are you going to do your masters? So but at least
Yeah.
I am out of that space. And that is when I encountered freedom.
Hmm.
Because through hypnotherapy, it was about this body, this mind, this soul. And then when
Hmm.
I went into social justice, where
Hmm.
again, people doing that kind of work are well read.
Well read. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
With well read comes the limitation of your reading what is written and what is
Hmm.
popular. There
Hmm.
are a lot of lesser known written things that you're not reading,
Hmm.
because the process itself, because you've been told that, oh, hey, read this will help you.
Yeah.
And and because there are many like me who are not talking about what is happening inside this
Yeah.
magical container. So how this charmed circle is what we learned in the QACP, where like there is this charming validation that is given to, say, a marriage, yeah, a heteronormative marriage, and with the rules of it being like, okay, it being in the same caste, validated by the elders, all of that. Likewise, this charming subject is there in all facets of life.
Yeah, because as humans, we are obsessed with belongingness, and
Yeah,
that gives us a way to belong. Let's say same caste, accepted by parents, accepted by elders, community, country, right? So that makes you safe and secure just because you belong to a certain group, certain circuit. So
yeah.
I get it. Hmm.
And these rules of everything, not just sexuality and identity, but of
Hmm.
everything, are
Yeah.
so pervasive. So even if we think that there are a lot of women I know who are like these strong women, but they look like, again, because we are talking about the energetic aspect, they look very cis masked in their
Hmm.
conduct and in their outlook, and they are tired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because again we are following the pervasive rules which are very underlying, which are very unconscious. And
Yes.
that is how freedom coach, like this phrase came to me, because even when I think that I'm free and I'm liberated and I'm rebelling and
Hmm.
how
Yeah.
am I really free?
Yeah.
Am I really free, or do I feel more constricted?
Yeah.
And so yeah, all of this came from the journey of feeling free, that oh my god, I'm doing this, I'm so cool, and then again feeling restricted, and then again feeling free, and then
Yeah.
again feeling so. These cycles have
Yeah.
gave me this freedom coach, and I feel that if I can just create the similar experience with
Hmm.
my client, so
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. I think the um w- one of the thing about freedom is the moment we are able to free ourselves from eliciting or invoking a response in the people who witness us, and we no longer want to do that. We are free because we are not looking for a certain kind of response, right?
Yeah.
So amazing. And tell us, how did you find ATEPS and then landed inside ATEPS?
So the form of theater that I started with is called
Hmm.
playback theater. Okay,
Yeah.
it's an improv form where there's a group of actors, there's a conductor who's conducting, and
Hmm.
it's like very similar to Constellation. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, 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 yeah. One of your friends slash colleague actually told me that it's very much like Constellation, and then I should just go and watch it one day. I remember, yes.
yeah. So then we take a story from the audience real time and we play it back.
Wow.
And with that, what happened was I joined playback theater, and then I joined an experiencing of Constellation.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
coincidentally, what happened was I did that, and although we are not supposed to, we're supposed to chill after
Hmm.
that, like
Hmm.
an
Hmm.
experiencing of Constellation. I went into my playback rehearsal right away,
Wow.
and I
Okay.
felt and it just got to that intermixing of concepts of,
Oh,
okay, now
right,
the teller
right.
is telling the story. I don't know the whole story. I'm not the teller. Of course, I don't know the context. I don't know the history. But something came out as an actor through me, which
Hmm.
for the teller was, oh my God, I did not share that. How did she know that? And
Ah, you didn't step out of the rep. You didn't step out of the
yeah,
rep. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that kind of made theater therapeutic for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then I was like, okay, what is this constellation? Have to go, and so that and because after QACP and everything, culture became a big thing,
Hmm.
because there are so many concepts. Like in psychology, also there's a concept of adult. In
Hmm.
the Indian culture, there's no concept of adult.
Adult. Yeah.
So that became like a big thing for me. And so I was looking for for coaches, for teachers, for mentors who are here,
Hmm. Hmm.
and who will help me understand what happens here.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because even for boundaries as a concept, and all the data that's floating around, people are struggling because all that data is not from our culture.
Absolutely. Oh my God,
That
that is so true. Yeah.
so freedom is a very felt experience where why we think we are free, but that just creates more friction, is because we are going by concepts that are so foreign, that were developed elsewhere in some other country based on their traditions, their beliefs, their
So
values, and
true.
we are
So
here
true.
thinking that, oh, let me open this book written by some white person and I'll find my answers, brown answers in the book.
Absolutely, which has been my experience in all of these different white containers. They are brilliant. Needless to say, they are all brilliant. But then when I see this approach, this individual centric approach of you can do it, it's you. You are the navigator, you are the driver, right? Now, I talk a lot about the fact that yes, you are the navigator, you are the driver, you do this. But I constantly also talk about the hidden forces that lead into the manufacturing of your thoughts and feelings. Like you are not an individual island, existing in an isolated sea. So and for us, culture and family is so important. Not only important in terms of, oh, just because it's moralistic. It's important because that's how our brains and bodies have been shaped, right? Like we are conditioned and trained to, let's say, ask a parent for permission for something that we want. And when we grow up, it hangs there like an invisible ghost, and you want to go and seek permission from somewhere and someone. And then when you sort of go into, let's say, a white container and see people that who are entrepreneurial and who are kicking ass, you feel that you are not doing enough because you think that I can't do this. But at the back of your mind, you are still seeking permission from somewhere else. So, and when the coach speaks to you that, but why are you doing that? You should not be doing that. You should just go headlong into it. You cannot vocalize and verbalize the struggle that you're facing because it's so systemic and cultural and conditioned in you. So yeah, so I'm so happy that you put it out, which is why brown problems cannot be resolved in white containers.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the isolation then that brings from, like, the disbelief that
Yeah,
happens,
yeah,
that, oh my
yeah.
God, I tried this, I went there, I gave myself a chance, but nothing happened for me.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And so that aspect of even so everything that is just intellectual is also isolating,
Hmm.
because my head is seeking freedom in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
idea that is rejected by my culture. And
Yes.
so the starting of rebellion in that way, which is very inherent and which will happen,
Yeah.
is also the starting of isolation, and that's
Hmm.
painful. So
Yeah.
so finding freedom and your kind of freedom and being you happened like that. And with that, like I came around across your page, and I was
Hmm.
like, I have to learn from this person.
My page on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is how it happened. It's just so organic. Like for the theater also that I do,
Yeah.
my then roommate signed me up for the workshop and is like, you go there. And I'm like, what? This is how beautiful life has
Yeah.
been.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful to whatever it is that has kept me open
Hmm.
despite of this big spotlight of, like, hey, do you want to see a failure in life? Here she
Hmm.
is. Like,
I get it. I get it. Yeah. You don't even have to invite it. It just shows up like that. Yeah.
yeah. And
Anshul,
so,
we really want to know, because I also want the audience to know about the experience of making our first lakh. Like I remember when I made my first lakh, before I made my first lakh, I had just begun dating my current partner. And he was, at that point of time, he was studying medicine. He also happens to be a doctor now. He was studying medicine. I think he was in his second year or so. And then I still remember taking a walk in Connaught Place and telling him that, I make around 50 to 60,000 per month. And then he says, "Oh, that's amazing, so I mean, you would be making that as a new young doctor as well." And I'd say that, yeah, I just want to sort of make a lakh, and then I'm game. So what was happening is, I knew that he would finish his degree and then he would do his internship. And I really wanted him to stay with me. And I told him that, listen, like, can you like stay with me? And then he said that, yeah, we can. I mean, we can together. We just have to find the right house, the environment, and for me to travel to the hospital and everything. I said, I really want to do that. And all it'll need me to have everything in place is to make a lakh. I have done all the calculations. And then I would just keep on thinking that if I just make a lakh, everything falls in place. I can stay with him. He can go to the hospital. I can work from home. And it just took me another, what, 4 or 5 months. And finally, I made my first lakh. So it was so deeply emotional in that moment. It was not about the lakh, it was about this whole target that I'd given myself and tied to this life that I wanted to live with this man. So and I could have that. So it was that fulfillment for me. And then, of course, rest is history. I kept, I made a lot of money after that, but I will never forget that experience that I had then and how it made me feel my first lakh. So we want to also know from you what happened inside ATEPS, how you made your first lakh, what it means to you. And yeah, that's what.
Yeah. Yeah. I think inside ATEX, I remember like the first few calls, and it was it was not more of doing, but just being in the space,
Yeah.
and the collective force kind of just amplified, because by now, like, you would know about me that even before joining ATEX, I'm a person who questions full on. Like whatever, the
Right.
more I believe in it, the more I'll question it. And
Right.
that kind of created that fun equation with, oh, let us just break all the barriers.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, when you live in a world which is like, again, because of their own fears, they're so used to projecting. And so I remember, Gaurav, when I messaged you for ATEPS also, I was like, hey, I want a collective
Mm.
who plays like me, who questions limiting
Yeah.
beliefs like me.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just about those few calls that the body starts shifting, expanding, and hey, yeah, why am I believing like that? And the
Amazing.
force of the collective that
Yeah.
is with you on questioning and breaking and like crushing limiting beliefs. It's hard to believe in something limiting after that. Once
Yeah.
you step
Yeah.
into it, then you're like, then
Once you
anybody tells
break
you,
out
hey,
of the
this is not
bubble,
possible.
you just cannot recreate it. Yeah.
Nobody can limit you once you step into it. It's a challenge, I feel. The highest of the highest authority in the hierarchy comes and tells you, hey, you don't have this, and you'll be like, watch me. And then you go back on Saturday.
Wow, I love that. I love that analogy.
Because the power of the container, and everybody there, even when we are sitting with our questions and with our own doubts, but the intention of everybody sitting there, and obviously led by you. I call you the big energy daddy of ATEPs. And so where we question everything limiting, it's just hard to be in that um, like limited space.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
more than any doing, it was just being with the space. And then one of the one of the precious insights that happened in one of my coaching
Hmm.
experiences in ATEPS um, was my equation with my work, and
Hmm.
and seeing it as a different entity. And
Yeah.
before that, I used to enjoy my work. I used to be fascinated by it because that's the nature of it. No, like you're just finding so much new that it's fascinating. It's so
Fascinating.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember I was coming to a space where I was like, okay, ho gaya na, how much more will I be fascinated? It's getting monotonous. But and it's not growing, and the pressure
Hmm.
and all of that. And when you told me about that thing of looking at it as a separate entity,
Hmm.
and just that separation, uh, like kind of made my work into this beautiful entity, because it was not then entangled with my own beliefs about me.
Yeah, I mean, you often you we feel that we are making the decisions and we are controlling the results of our business, or our practice, whatever you call it. But it is a being of in its own, like it um and the being can show up in different ways. Like for me, like how I feel ATEPS is like this. I often see ATEPS as the sexy being who just exudes this kind of like energy, which it's so seductive. That's how I feel ATEPS. So
Yeah.
I also want everyone to see their own practice business entity as something which has its own sort of energy and will move and decide and create in its own way.
Yeah. And I think once that separation happened, because now coming back to the world that we live in,
Hmm.
where we are rejected left, right, and center,
Hmm.
we may not even know that even if it's not an express rejection. It is, we step back when we feel it energetically, and
Yes.
because we are not aware of the energetic aspects,
Hmm.
many of us,
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
it just goes, we just feel held back
Yeah.
without an explanation. So
Yeah.
imagine if I just free my business out of all that madness that's happening to me.
Me.
And because self-love, we can't learn self-love. We are still, like, even the best of the best are grappling with self-love. So
Yeah.
once my business becomes something else, which is not
Yeah.
self,
Yeah.
I was able to love it. And then that binary passion, you remember? I
Hmm.
was talking
Yeah.
about,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
when you're passionate about a lover, that happened. Because
Wow.
I can't love myself like that. I can't be passionate about, oh, me the therapist, me the healer, me the coach,
That is
like that.
so illuminating, really.
Yeah, and then I became like, oh my God, this is so cool. and and in the conversations with this entity now, with this,
Yeah.
the offers became clear.
Hmm.
The work that happens became clear, because now the pressure of I have to do that for someone else
Hmm.
just completely went
Goes
out of.
away. Yeah. Then
Yeah,
I'm just the vehicle, through which my entity sort of operates and speaks and tells me
yeah,
whatever I need to do, and the rest is taken care of by the
yeah, yeah.
entity. Yeah.
Yeah. So the physical analogy of then it becomes, and then I could see, my clients also, somebody who wants to engage with this amazing energy, and
Hmm.
not necessarily me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so it just became like that analogy of this luxurious spa, that somebody comes in and I'm just there,
Yeah.
and they are relaxed. Something may come up, they are stirred up, whatever it is, and so much of pressure just goes off, and I feel that, my God, this is a gift that has happened.
Hmm.
And so that was one of the biggest things that ATEPS did, and that is how I think it just expanded. It
Yeah.
just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so how does it feel to you on an emotional level? Because money is not just about the number. In fact, it is not about the number, and it is about the number. I always say that money does not truly exist. It is the energy. What exists
Yeah.
is actually the value and the service that we give to people, right? And there are always these emotional stories tied to our numbers. I want to make 1 lakh, I want to make 5 lakh, I want to make 10 lakh, whatever the amount of money is. It's more about the stories that we have. So, how does it feel to you now to make that kind of money?
I feel that, like how I said, that there is no concept of an adult.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So likewise, in my life, there was no concept of an adult. And so we are all children running around with the rules, even when we
Hmm.
become adults and we take all these labels. Yeah. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
a feminine. Now
Yeah.
there are these bigger rules
Mm.
in the
Yeah.
matrix that we exist. And then I'm playing by the rules. And I may think that, oh, I'm a free woman. But no. So,
I
so,
love that.
and so like that, this 1 lakh is is a model, is an evidence in itself for my story, for my being. Uh, that hey, you're grown up now, and you made the big money. Okay, cool. So, so that is validating for the adult in me who was earlier like just looking for labels, hoarding, hoarding knowledge, holding appreciation, also holding it very, very, very tight. Validation and appreciation. This 1 lakh has just expanded my body and my heart, uh, and I feel so much safe as a grown-up person.
Wow. That, I mean, I think that is so profound, the way you have said it, the way you have brought it out. And so many people will be able to connect. Anshul, I myself come from a small city. I mean, at least it was a small city when I was growing up, Guwahati. And I do get to hear from so many other cities and places and towns and villages who at this moment might just be wondering if I could have a business of my own, if I could be a coach, or I could be a therapist, or I could be a healer, right? Or I could be a mentor to someone. Is this the kind of work that I would like to do and actually make a lakh, you know? So many people have this dream of making a lakh in a month. And we are in India, we are in this country where people still have those dreams, and those dreams are tied, as we said, to these more quote unquote honorable professions, right?
Yeah,
And which is not true.
yeah,
People would want to pursue their dreams, do what they want to do, become coaches,
yeah.
especially women. And we need more and more of them, because then there are so many more people who need that kind of help. What is the message that you would like to broadcast to all those people who are listening and wondering of this dream?
I think the message would be ditch all the stories and indulge in life based on your truth.
Hmm.
And it's interconnected, like ditching the stories one by one by one by one, yeah,
Yeah,
will get you closer to your truth. And then there is no other way but to indulge from your truth. Because yes, there are ways, and like people are making life a science by making all these rules. Everything is becoming a set course with all these rules, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But uh, but your life and your story is your story.
Hmm.
It
Hmm.
cannot live by the rules of like a template. And
Yeah.
if you are limiting, if anything, the template that seems so big, the template of
Hmm.
created by hierarchy, template created by authority, template created by the social safety culture, all of that, it seems very big when we are a child, yeah,
Yeah.
and we are one person. But your story is so much bigger, 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 and your reality is so much bigger because the template is only limiting after a point.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so indulging with truth, I feel, and is the way to go.
Wow. Indulging with the truth.
And
Yeah.
rejecting everything that feels false. No, there are these so many things that, oh, like say marriage. Once you get
Yeah.
married, no, you'll feel safe. You get married, you don't feel safe. Why are you there? Step out,
Step
dude.
out. Yeah. Dropping
Take
one
a step
story at a time. Like that's what I get to really hear from you. Like dropping one story at a time that
yeah,
doesn't feel true to your body. And then asking, if this is not true, what is true for me? Right.
yeah, yeah.
So amazing, amazing. Anshul, we really would want everyone who's listening right now to find you, follow you, reach out to you. And of course, so many people would want to work with you, with all the expertise and the experience that you have, I would really want people to find you and, um, seek guidance from you. So how do people find you, Anshul, if someone wants to work with you?
I'm there on Instagram,
Yes.
working on my website.
Okay. What's your Instagram
But
handle?
it's Anshul Jhambani.
Okay, I'm going to put
ANSH.
that in the show notes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anywhere else?
And for now, it's just that.
Okay. Okay. So people can find you there and can DM you, and
Yes.
you would be reaching back, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything that we did not touch, Anshul, that or I didn't ask, that you would want, all of us to know?
Uh, I would just want, I think the um, one other thing in ATEPS that happened, yes
Mm-hmm.
lives in the land of no.
Oh, that's a
That
Byron
is
Katie quote. Yeah.
that that is that just summarized my life.
Hmm.
And we think, but we don't give ourselves enough credit. And so when I related to that, I was like, oh my God, yeah, life is good, but there are so many no's. And
Hmm.
so let me just be with it. And
Amazing.
so it just made things so easy. And I would like, one thing that is missed here is I would like everybody to join ATEPS,
Okay.
because it is like a world of its own, where where we let go of the rules that are holding
Hmm.
us back,
Hmm.
and we may not even be aware of what is holding us back.
Yeah.
And like a liberating dance that happens, no,
Hmm.
that happens in that container. And slowly, like, everybody just is pulling each other up, and it's a utopian space. And so
I'm
for all
so
the people who
glad.
know, these perfect places don't exist, they exist. They're just like, there's this energetic aspect to it,
Aspect to
so
it.
you
Yeah.
can't see it in the whole perfection if you don't acknowledge energy.
True.
So,
True. Yeah.
yeah.
You wouldn't see it if you don't acknowledge energy. Wow. Right. Right. Amazing, Anshul. Thank you so much for coming for this episode and really like uplifting all of us through your story, everything that you've experienced, achieved, and the person that you are, and what you are broadcasting and radiating to the world. So, this is amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me over, Gaurav. It was lovely. And it's like my big moment again. Second, after one guy, this is like, ooh, Gaurav is inviting you for a podcast. Big. You are a big person. So thank you for another evidence that, hey, Anshul, welcome. You're a grown up now.
You are creating that evidence yourself, and it's just that things are falling into place as you are creating more and more of it, right? So that's what
Thank
is
you.
happening, and deepest gratitude for the kindest words about ATEPs. I really hope and wish that people listen, people know the story, and they come inside ATEPs to break their own rules, to liberate out of their own, all the skins of shame that each one of us carry, right? Thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed listening to this podcast and are willing to change your business and money reality, head to my free coaching community on Facebook called You Are Money. Link is in the show notes. And do not forget to leave a review on Spotify.com or Apple Podcast. Thank you so much.